the teams are. This is a match between Kevin Afruz, who is with Team Majestics, and Henry Hummer. Can we have the cards, please? We'll take a look at Henry's team, please. So Henry is playing a team with Black Hand and Ragnarok and Justin Seifert. He does have the green power battery on his team with the sniper rifle, the stop sign, the wall, and is playing the green lantern ring. And if we could take a look at Kevin's team as well. Kevin is playing Banshee with Ophidian assigned to him. That's one of the War of Light entities. He's also playing Scarlet Witch with the entity assigned to him, and Atomica with Adara assigned to her. And he's playing the orange power battery with the orange lantern ring and the sniper rifle and the wall. All right, they're just getting started on their match. So you're going to see again, this is just so you're following along here. This is flip-flopped a little bit because we set up the screen here, but since the players, depending on who wins the map roll and who gets to choose their placement, can choose. And in both our games here, they've chosen exactly opposite how we had our screen set up. So actually, Kevin's team is on the left-hand side of your screen, and Henry's team is on the right-hand side of your screen. So. All right, I like Henry's style already. He's, you may have noticed something that's pretty common among players, probably in any dice game, but HeroClix certainly. He always makes sure to turn his dice to the 6th side, so trying to go for a little lucky mojo on that. Henry is playing Ragnarok here, who is out of the Avengers Assemble set, along with Justin Seifert, who is also out of the Avengers Assembled set, and is going to try to make use of that ability of Justin Seifert to be able to give Ragnarok additional move actions and free attacks if he's able to take a power action. So he actually already made use of it by giving Justin the power action to have Ragnarok move and then carry Justin while doing that. So which allows him to essentially avoid placing the action token on Ragnarok, since he wants to keep Ragnarok clear as much as possible so he can make attacks. This is two relatively aggressive teams. They're both built to move right across the map and make attacks. They certainly, as we saw with Henry, he's going to try to give as many actions to Justin so that Ragnarok can attack, and Justin has taken the power action to allow him to attack, and then of course Ragnarok can be able to attack on his own. So he's going to be able to pump out a number of attacks with Ragnarok. And on the flip side, you got Kevin, who's got Banshee, who's a strong character with running shot and a pulse wave ability, and his pulse wave can ignore the elevated terrain. Of course, that represents Banshee's ability to do a sonic scream, so that would not be stopped by elevated terrain or line of sight or anything. And he's also packing Scarlet Witch and Atomica, so Scarlet Witch with, of course, with probability control, and Atomica, who has the CSA team ability. So two different ways, but they both have the same effect of being able to reroll attacks. So he's looking at Banshee as his main attacker, and with the two support pieces who will allow him to hopefully get those attacks to stick. So it looks like Henry just wanted to confirm, asked to take a look at Banshee's card, just wanted to confirm his power. And he's going to circle around to the high side of the map as we see it on the screen here. Now this time, of course, he had to give the token to Ragnarok. Justin took the action token last turn. Early on, we saw that one of the first things in the game that he has the wall construct. That's Henry has the wall construct with the green power battery, which he was able to assign there, and now he's making use of it by placing some blocking terrain to try to protect him from being shot at by Kevin's team. So Kevin's going to have to try to figure out how he might be able to get around that, but it looks like he's going to take a different tact, which is go after the power battery. He was able to sneak around that diagonal right there and take a shot at Justin, and right between the corners of the barrier markers and that asteroid, since Banshee does ignore elevated terrain, and that might have been here I thought, I didn't see that line of sight myself. I thought he might be going after the power battery, but instead this is a top level player that can see those lines even between those diagonals, and was able to sneak a shot through. And that did take out Justin Seifert for Henry's team, so now he's down to Ragnarok. And I think here is where Henry may be taking the tack of trying to move away and potentially come in and put in some damage on the orange power battery, and that could potentially hamper Kevin's team. He's certainly going to be slowed down with his Justin Seifert knocked out and not being able to give Justin actions to allow Ragnarok to take move actions and attacks. Kevin is assigning his powers from that he's going to be able to borrow from his entities assigned to his characters. Good show of sportsmanship there. Looks like Henry asked if he might be able to borrow some markers to place on the board, and Kevin was kind enough to let him use those. At this point, Henry's just trying to slow down Kevin from getting back across the board and making any shots on Ragnarok. And Banshee was able to fly right around that. And he's alright, so he was able to line up a shot. Keep in mind that Banshee does have the sniper rifle, and so he has a 10 range, effective 10 range, and since he does ignore the hindering terrain, this of course being a great map for Kevin's advantage, so his choice of maps that allows him to operate within that elevated terrain, and since he ignores elevated terrain for line of fire purposes, is able to shoot through that. And took a shot on Ragnarok, but Henry did roll the 6 on his shape change, so that didn't that attack wasn't able to go through. So it comes up to Henry, and as I expected, he is going right at the power battery and going to try to put some damage into that to try to hamper Kevin's team. presses the attack, makes another running shot on Ragnarok. Henry was not able to make that shape change roll and take some damage on Ragnarok. So he is one figure down off the map, and already some clicks into Ragnarok. Right, they're taking a look at the trait on his entity. Oh, excuse me, that's Scarlet Witch. We could take a look at Scarlet Witch's card, which is on Kevin's team, so we can see just exactly what they were looking at. And now these images do cycle through, so we're just gonna. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we don't have Scarlet Witch's card. This was the Scarlet Witch from one of the recent organized play kits. What they were confirming about here is that Scarlet Witch figure has a trait that's called Hex Magic. It's once per turn after an attack has been determined. Scarlet Witch may give the attacker up to 3 Hex Magic tokens if the attacker is in within range. And then it reduces the attack total by 1. So if they make an attack and hit within 3, she can essentially make them miss. And I'm sure, again, I'm going to remind folks that we don't have audio on the players, so I am inferring here that they were probably having a little conference there, that since he was making an attack against the power battery, that the power battery isn't quite, it's functionally similar to an attack, but since the power battery isn't a character, it's worded slightly different. So I'm sure there was confirming about if that Hex Magic ability would be effective. Henry is still making use of that wall to try to limit the lines of fires that Banshee will be able to draw on him, or in fact any of Kevin's team. And Kevin does knock down one of those barrier tokens to clear a path for Banshee to be able to come in and make an attack. And unfortunately for Henry, he takes a few more clicks of damage in on Ragnarok. Henry did flip back over that special marker because he's putting that wall back up. Kevin cleared his markers. after a little bit of repositioning by Kevin, Henry is considering his options here. Let's take a look at Henry's team here. He has black hand on his team. That's why you see him pulling him from off the sideline. He's taking a look at his card right now. Used as the entity possession. Just to point out, Henry has black hand that that you see right to the left of your screen. He had placed them on the map, but just to make sure there's no confusion for those who are watching, that he's not actually on the map. I think Henry was just placing him in front of him, so he was making sure that he remembers to utilize his powers. And certainly I understand as a player that having these things sort of visible in front of you is a good reminder. Now, and that will be the final blow that'll take Ragnarok out. Henry did great circling around, trying to take out Kevin's power battery, but a good map roll from Kevin, a good map choice that allowed him to utilize the elevated terrain to his advantage while minimizing the attacks that could come back to him. Made it pretty difficult for Henry to be able to retaliate. So just as they're cleaning up here, we will take a second to congratulate the folks, and then we'll see if we can have Kevin stop over and say hello. And then we're going to be on to round 3 after that.